Hi there. Don't know where this is going, but it just seems like so much fun to record something right after you've written it. So, this is the most recent journal, and I'm still haven't come to any good, clear way to present the dialogues between myself and the 12D friends. So that's in the works too. It just has to come to me how to do it. Okay, so this is 11/17. This is the first journal today, and the Mayan day is 9 Cimi, I think is the way you say it. It's death or transformer. And this is one of the tips series. It's been quite a while since one of those came through. It surprised me. I had no idea this is what would be coming out. Or whatever. Okay, what an exciting time it is to be alive and in body on planet Earth. Is that your sense of things? If it's not, then I suggest you find your way out of the mind and into heart. That's where your true senses abide, your multi-dimensional ones. It's time for us to be taking on our true mastery. And we have that in the light. It's not something we have to develop, it's there. It's time to dump the rather ignorant human parts we've been playing. Well, ignorant relative to our true abilities as light beings, for we are divine. Do you know that? And if you know it, how deeply do you own it? I work on that one all the time. It's not easy owning our higher reality while yet so embodied in 3D, yet it can be done. And the thing is, we must raise our eyes and quit taking on human goals, human targets. To do that, we need to let memory drop, at least for a time, now and then. To let go of both past and future is to more closely approach who we are. Are you game? What are you willing to let go? What do you feel you must retain? What are your fears? Are you familiar with them? And even if you are, I find that there are many more yet hidden away, always popping up. As we process the ones that come up, we make room for the hidden ones to surface, to appear and be processed and go in their time. So the way everything works is quite perfect. But we've got to be able to see it, to take best advantage of it, to cooperate with it, in other words. We all carry a certain measure of blindness. It's just a part of our trek here through 3D. There are things we choose not to see. And maybe not consciously, but remember, the conscious mind is the smallest compartment of mind. It's minuscule compared to what is subconscious and unconscious, and yet that is you too. And we're owning more and more of that as we awaken. Part of our awakening is a challenge, and part is a great joy. They twine together like the yin and the yang. Those trying to avoid one or the other are maybe not yet ready to ascend. The hard work of accepting that we all have a dark side is there to be faced, accepted, and integrated. My goal is balance. What's yours? I used to be much more willful, ever seeking to have this divine love triumph over everything dark. I bought the religious line that only the pure, the righteous, make the grade. I am ever so glad to be beyond those days and those ways. I didn't find them successful at all. My conclusion? You can't set out to vanquish a part of the self and go free and remain whole. It just doesn't work. The self won't allow it. Wisely. Eventually, we see how that way just doesn't make sense. While it may make acceptable mind sense, it doesn't make heart sense at all. I find a whole new intelligence here within heart. It seems to just know things I can't yet explain. Yet, I don't feel the need to explain. I'm content not to know for as long as that's the case. It's all right. It doesn't matter in any case. Once one steps back, it's easy to see how things just are what they are. It is what it is, and accepting that is a very good first step. It shows that we're coming to an end of a long cycle, a cycle of resistance to reality, always wanting things to be some other way than how they are. Now, we didn't realize it, not while we were in that frame of mind. We were blind to it, to its larger ramifications. We couldn't yet see how unsuccessful that way would turn out to be. Well, who knows why, but with many of you, I'm seeing one heck of a lot more these days. More and more things just coming clear. Lately, I've been enjoying the uploads of AMMACH from the UK. AMMACH. I'll give you a link to their channel in the transcript. A group that works with contactees and abductees to get their stories out. They are a very brave bunch to tackle such things and to post them, and generally before any real evidence or proof surfaces. They stick their courageous necks out in an effort to serve truth. I admire them. Just like Project Camelot or any number of truth-telling websites, one cannot accept all that's offered at face value. Sometimes we just need to know something, and maybe it's not true, but we need to know about that aspect of things. So, how to decide, how to discern truth from everything else? I think we all have a few tricks up our sleeve on this, and I'd like to share mine. It's been a while since I talked about this. I had to introduce abductee and contactee into my word processing dictionary, so it's been a bit. Before I start, though, let me share with you that I no longer choose what I watch or listen to. That's done by heart. Thus, I can't yet explain why I'm watching something. I really don't know. It may be something I no longer have an interest in, such as Bashar, but I watch those as those videos are added to the ever faithful Watch Later playlist on YouTube. Oh well, it all becomes clear at some point. So my strong suggestion is that we all follow our instincts, our intuition, our heart, rather than listening to our head. Until the mind has become heart socialized, even heart centered, it can be relied on for one thing: to fight what is within and without. It's the one doing all the resisting. It will play the distract and mislead card to the hilt, all the while seeking to retain its position of control, of dominance. Well, that's understandable, yet you can master it. Just be determined and you will. I have found that there are some cues that help me up front when the abductee or channeled information isn't worthy of trust. I think most of us realize that there are a number of star races out there who are jockeying for position, even for mastery of planet Earth, some of them. There are the benevolents and the malevolents, as we often call them. Now, the benevolent ones generally hang back much more than the others, due to their respect for our free will, I suppose. So, right away, that's one indicator to watch. Due to that, I take the vast majority of those speaking to be more likely false than to be true. No guarantees exist, of course. It's just a possible indicator, a tip, but one worthy of note. So, if they're speaking at all, look to their motive and do this from heart, for in our current state, we're no match for them on the playing field of the mind. They can manipulate that. Okay, so if they're speaking at all through whatever contactee, abductee, or channeler, just be wary. That's the first note. We are in heart to do this, but we can call on the mind for support. That's what we're doing here. I think that's what all these tips things are. If you have too much challenge still with being in heart, then move over to the right brain. That'll help. It's much more closely tied in with heart. Actually, I think there's a direct link there. Now next, what are they saying? What are they trying to accomplish by saying it? Are they trying to direct mankind? Womankind? Are they trying to steer us in any certain direction? And if they are, that too is a big clue. If you've come across any real and authentic channeling, which there's not so much of out there, then you'll know that the light beings don't try to direct us. Rather, they seek to help us come into our own wisdom, our own internal direction, to connect us up with the higher self. For instance, there are questions they won't answer. If you've got someone whose connections with beings who are acting like an 8-ball, the child's fortune-telling toy, answering every question put to them, then watch out. Be very suspicious. That's not higher light being behavior. They respect us too much for that. It's like giving your children all the answers to their homework problems. Would you do that? What good will that do? Or what harm? Okay, to continue with what they are saying, how are they saying it? What's their attitude? Do you detect any condescension at all? Even a bit? Or do they talk to you as equals? Please get out of the head and don't trust. Make them earn your trust through the heart. Let them tell you what's what. Just don't, no, let heart tell you what's what. Just don't listen to mind. Please recognize that as higher dimensional beings, they can easily both read and control the mind, even nervous systems at times. So don't underestimate them. Do not take them or anything at face value. Look deeper from heart, and remember, nothing is what it appears to be anyway. I'd say that if there was one constant among the various malevolence, it would be arrogance. It would also be in appearing as what they are not, taking on the guise of angels or light beings. So don't trust your physical eyes either. They can lie. They're directly tied in with mind. Many are aware of this caution since it's in the Christian Bible and other scriptures as well, but it's also a good tip. This goes along with what I mentioned earlier, how the malevolence will try to guide you and feed you beliefs. They will seek to convince you of their beauty, of their holiness, just by appearing there, simply because they know that's what you seek, what you desire. communion with the true beings of light. Remember, they can read minds and even control them if you let them. You do this by your set of beliefs, by what's growing in your internal belief garden. So keep watch. Don't trust. In other words, don't give your power away. As you may have heard or read or watched on video, people's bodies are often controlled by these beings. Most often they experience a sort of paralysis where they are awake and aware, but unable to master any part of their body except perhaps the eyes. When we are in mind, we'll tackle anything with ego seeking mastery over it. Heart is much wiser, more balanced, and more willing to give credit where credit is due. These races, whatever else they may be, are more advanced than man and womankind is currently allowed or able to be. That's just a fact of current 3D. Well, when we're in heart, it's quite easy to remember that we're not limited like that. We're multidimensional already. We don't have to wait for this. It just is. We have other avenues of approach to whatever it is. And these are accessed through, you guessed it, your presence in heart. So, while they may be and likely are more advanced in their abilities to control the things of 3D, that's just something of which to remain aware. If you're in heart, it won't get you down or depressed or feeling inferior. Since you're not, I don't care who it is that appears to you, who you're working with. You are not in the least inferior to them. Now, that's a most important consideration to own. Not just to believe, but to own. Heart knows this. Do you? Well, you do in heart. When we're fully aware that many of these beings, maybe most, can control the central nervous system of 3D man, and thus the whole body, and certainly the mind, we are cautious. We give them credit for that. In acknowledging this, we also realize how unwise it is to encounter them from any sort of a mind-based awareness. That's to give them control. Encounter situations, above all, are to be met with from heart, which they can neither control nor even touch. No one has access to your heart but you. Now, that's the ground level truth for all of us. Yet, that control or access can be given away. There's this thing called free will. They will most often try to trick you. Now, this is nothing that the powers that were don't do on earth every day. We should be used to this. They tell you that something like the Patriot Act is for your protection. Oh, it's in your best interests. When it's anything but. Yet, if you're in mind and you give them time to listen to their proposal, chances are pretty good they will convince you to go along. They're masters of mind. Now, that would be your ego at work. That would be you not acknowledging their masterful abilities relative to your 3D equipment here. That would be you thinking you're their equal on the mental playing field. Not a good move. Do you see? What can seem like humility or simple reasonableness to the mind can be anything but. Don't think you're above being tricked. You're not. Now, I'll take a pause in sharing these tips for long enough to offer a suggestion to help you deal with some of this. And it's very simple, really. Just challenge them. And that's right, just say no to something they offer or ask for, or even better yet, give them an open general challenge to either show their true nature, to show forth their light, or be gone. And you can call in your guardians and guides to escort them away. If they are true light beings, they won't mind a bit. And you'll know it instantly, too, especially if you're in heart. Your heart will know instantly. Just as you will instantly get the flavor of their arrogance if they're the malevolent sort. That arrogance, oh God, it stinks to high heaven. It is so powerful that they won't be able to completely conceal it. The hem of their garment will show if you're alert. That they may even convert into their true form right there in front of you, reptilian or whatever, so you may see them as they truly are, absent the light being disguise. These are the imposters of light. Okay, back to more tips. Let's look to the contents of what they say, what they share. What do they propose? Some things I watch out for are any sort of lure to leave the planet. I don't care what the story is, it doesn't matter. That would or could be the desire of the dark ones to move their herd to other pastures, to prevent them from ascending out of their vibrational reach. Now, I know it sounds terrible, but it's from their own mouths, those who freely admit that we are their livestock, the source of their food. They feed on our energy for the most part, and some even feed on human bodies, on our form. Not so nice. So do be suspicious of anything at all that takes your feet off of Gaia. Now that's my way, at least. You make your choice. The imposters of light mimic both the form and the setup of the light beings. Within the planet is said to be the sacred retreat of some highly advanced beings who've been there just about forever. Well, the imposters have their own internal city too. They call theirs Agartha. Earth may be a hologram, but this Agartha is a hologram of a hologram, an imitation of Shambhala, city of true light. Now, of course, I can't prove this. It's just my current intuition of what's going on, and I may be all wet. Always, you make your own choices. Back when I used to follow some of the channelings of those associated with the Galactic Federation of Light, and I liked Mike Quincy, and for a while Sheldon Neidl. I learned of a plan they've put forth. The lure is that they will help us complete our ascension if we will go with them into Agartha. They say that they have clones, they have duplicates of our houses in there, with one difference. Beside each one is a small compartment that holds a special seat or chair. They tell us that what's ahead for us is to sit in this seat and plug in to their advanced technology that comes with it, that's a part of it. Now, I don't recall exactly, it's been a while since I followed those guys, but I think they suggest that we will be perhaps several days in this process. It is supposed to somehow complete our DNA conversion into ascension. They say there will be a short time of adjustment after this process, during which we will have a tutor to assist us in integrating our newly ascended state. Yeah, right. Let's look at that. This setup is rife with red flags. One of them is the need to use any mechanical means to accomplish or to complete an ascension. I don't think so. Can you see source or true light beings needing machines for something like that? I can't. I don't choose to believe it. One mark of the truly advanced civilizations or light beings is their ability to do all that they do, including travel the cosmos, absent any ships or technology at all, as in none. This chair and technology will likely modify your DNA, yes, but to what end? Has womankind, mankind, not already been through a supposed gift from the gods of a massive DNA modification? One that left us so much less than we once were? I suggest to you that this is how we went from 12-stranded DNA right down to 2 strands. And again, I just suggest not to trust the fact that they want to modify our DNA mechanically is highly suspect. And the fact that it would take so long and leave us unstable is too. And here's the deal. Consider, once we say yes to such a thing, our other options are closed. They're gone. So even if you're convinced that this is in your best interests, there's no need to rush. And if they give you the bum's rush, the sales pitch about needing to do it now, right now, you have yet another caution of which to be aware. So don't be too quick to trust. See what heart says first. And you may have to clean out some old beliefs before heart can clearly speak. Remember, you're the creator of your reality there to a huge extent, and it's based on your beliefs. And that's your use of free will, and spirit won't violate your free will. There may come a day when we, the ascending ones, will have light being tutors, if that's what we desire. It could be the mentoring program suggested by the Andromedans through Alex Collier. I see nothing wrong with that. But this is not that. You see, the same suggestion can be made by those with very different agendas or intents. And it's up to us not to give our power away in the process. Our discernment lies heartward. Go there first. Once you give your consent to something like this, it's too late. I hope you can see this. You may have just committed yourself to another 1,000,000 or so years of 3D evolution. That's how the malevolent ones want you. They need to keep you in 3D as their food source. Another thing to be alert for in the contents of what's being proposed to you is anything that stirs up fear. Now we're going to look at both sides of this coin. And again, this will require heart-centered discernment. Cosmos is sending higher frequency rays and energies to buoy you up. You can ride it up into higher consciousness than you've ever known before. It's there for you. It's part of who and what you are. Okay, heart-centered discernment. Here's why. When you stand in the presence of someone well advanced in the light, whether it be an earthly teacher or guru or a star being, a light being, your negativity will be stirred up. It's like shining the sun's rays into a room and exposing all of the previously invisible dust motes. Where was I? Exposing all of the previously invisible dust motes in the room. Those dust motes are your own untransmuted darkness, the bits and parts you have not seen yet, have not acknowledged and dealt with. Now, this is only natural due to the physics of your vibration relative to theirs. Do you see? It's nothing magical or mystical or spooky. It's not Satanism. It's not hexing. It's physics. Yet, how it feels can be or seem to be a very big thing. It can seem frightening. The trick is to know where that fear originates. And the trick is not to project it on the one who is before you. From heart, you can quickly recognize the fear's origin. My suggestion is it's best not to try and repress it. Instead, welcome it and make room for it. Just allow it to be. If that's a real light being in front of you, they will support you vibrationally in doing this. Now, after all, clearly, it already is. The fear is there, and resistance just won't help. Rather than resist, you can be done with whatever darkness came up, and it starts by just allowing it to be. Just know that it cannot hurt you. Nothing can. You're divine. This is a good time to remember that. Okay, so that's one source of fear to be on the lookout to uncover, the internal sort. There are other, more obvious sources of fear presented in many channelings and star being encounters. The fear-mongering can be just that, blatant, or it can be much more subtle, but still clearly present. If you have already vested belief and faith in the beings before you, then you won't likely be able to see the more subtle sort. You'll make excuses for it. All right, though I will likely lose some subscribers over it, I will suggest that this subtle fear is present in the briefings from the allies of humanity. It is a not so subtle, we're better than you attitude, at least more advanced. They're not looking at us as the light beings, as the souls that we are. They're looking at us as the bodies, as what's manifest in 3D. So, meanwhile, you humans, you know nothing of interacting galactically or even in your own solar system. You're newbies, so you require us in our advice and mentoring, lest you make some stupid mistakes, which you can easily do. You see the fear in there? Now, remember, friends, this is just my set of beliefs. I don't suggest that you take them on as your own, but rather that you just test the waters first and be more cautious in selecting who you'll believe. I let heart make those decisions for me, and as I've shared before, I was a firm follower of the Allies of Humanity for some months. I even bought the book, which isn't something I generally do. I highlighted, I underlined, I put notes in the margins. I really bought into it. What I eventually discovered is that they put forward a very good front. So often, it is a real light being whom they work through, someone fully convinced of their light being status and their truth. So I don't insult or put down Marshall in any way. Rather, I admire his determination to follow his bliss. We should all be doing that. no matter where it leads us. So, if this is your choice, then I champion your right to choose for yourself. Now, I hope you can see what I'm doing here, which is just offering my view of things, but not pushing them on anyone. You don't have to believe as I do to be accepted by me. I accept you all just by the very nature of your existence. Your beautiful being. You are beautiful. You are perfect just as you are. So, suit yourself and read no judgment or condemnation into what I say in the journals. It's not there. So, if you think you see it, I humbly suggest you look within for the source. There is no judgment of any kind resident within heart. None. The love is unconditional. Nonetheless, it's important that we all speak out, and then everyone can listen to the whole thing and make their own choices. Time is shortening so quickly as the big transition completes itself. We're in the midst of it now, just in case some hadn't noticed. No need to await 12/21 or any other date. Actually, the next key date that I've seen mentioned in a couple of places is 11/22. This is likely a harmonic of the 11/11 threshold we recently crossed. And next will come 12/12, and both of these before the fabled 12/21. I think there's also a lunar eclipse before then, so things are hopping. The 12/21 solstice date is one of many, even though it's a key one. So let us be sufficiently present in now to be aware of each now moment, each date and event as it transpires, instead of being off in the 12/21 future, awaiting rescue. Friends, one thing we are all finding, the awakening ones, is a new, what I'll call a soul level maturity. Those words are not perfect, but it's a spiritual thing, not a psychological or mental one. The ever-rising frequencies all around us are entraining us ever upward. And as our frequencies rise, we come ever closer to the inner or higher self. Do identify with that instead of anything here in 3D. Recognize and simply know that you are not limited, not to 3D or to any dimension or time or space. Take on more and more of the authority of your own divine self. It is present and available to you now and here. Enter in. It's a choice. If you feel blocked or thwarted or trapped in any way at all, then know and accept that you do this to yourself. Choose not to do it anymore. Withdraw from whatever beliefs you are using to entrap the self that way, usually by playing the blame game, which is to play the victim. Your beliefs are your choice, and they are the creators of your 3D and even your higher reality. You are the maker of your own future, and the future you choose is quite able to alter the past. We've got it all wrong about time and space here. Our current ideas need to go if they are the programmed ones, the ones we were fed while growing up. They are all false, at least 99% false, so don't try to fix them. And that's what mind will try to do. Own yourself, capital S. Identify with the light that is your true nature. Know that you are divine, and you'll find yourself making better and better decisions. We will be shortly putting to shame our world's superheroes. We are that, and so very much more, my friends. Others will call it miraculous, what we will find the self doing. Don't believe them. It's just physics. And they are just in mind, which doesn't understand cosmic physics yet. Good day.